Smexigt. Vad?
På den här bingon, jag vinner ingenting längre.
Aha.
Du tar samma buss idag.
Fast
Nej.
jag får ju inte vara där länge alls då.
Du kommer hem med samma buss.
Men
Det är min födelsedag. Ska jag behöva sitta alldeles ensam eller? Du drar iväg, han ligger där uppe. Det är som vilken annan jävla vanlig dag som är. Eller har jag fel?
nej. Oj. Vem? Men hur? Det stänger 10 idag, mamma. Men varför kan han? Förlåt, mamma. Nu svarar hon inte ens.
Nej, jag orkar inte.
Trevlig då. Då behöver du ju inte säga något om jag inte svarar dig. Du kan väl göra något, du måste inte sitta hemma. Eller? Men! Du kan ju prata istället. Istället för att sucka. Men det gör du ju inte.
Nej, men jag är trött på att tjata på att du ska sluta låta. Eller hur?
Äntligen. Men... Var kom han ifrån? Men... Men hur kan han vara så jävla snabb? Hitmark. Men...
Ingen som bryr sig och städar. Det är bara jag som ska hålla på. Alla bara försvinner. Jag skiter snart i alltihop.
Men så... Nej. Skit i det, åka.
Det är fan ingen som bryr sig.
Nej, vi bryr oss inte om någonting då, men...
Nej, du bryr dig ju bara om att sitta och spela. Det är det enda som existerar för dig.
Ja.
Ja.
Jag vill säga så.
Det syntes ju när vi satt och väntade på sjukhus när...
Ja, men vad fan? Vad gjorde jag för fel då?
Jag har inte sagt att du gjorde något fel.
Det gjorde du ju.
Vad är det för attityd du har? Vad skriker du på mig för? När jag inte ens skriker på dig. Va?
För du säger att jag bara vill sitta här.
Ja.
Varför går jag ut? Varför går jag till UC då? För? Jag kunde fortsätta spela igår. Men jag gick till UC istället. Mamma. Eller hur?
Du hade inte alls kunnat fortsätta spela för det hade du inte fått.
Det hade jag.
Nej,
Jo.
det vet du mycket väl.
Klockan var... Vad var den? 5. Mamma.
Och vad mer?
Nej. Ja, 5:30 i så fall. Vilken är klockan? Den var inte 7. Det var den inte. För det vet jag. Ja, men du vet ju mycket mer än vad jag gör tydligen.
Kan det bero på att jag är äldre än dig?
Måste det betyda att du kan mycket mer än vad jag kan?
Jag har ju lite mer erfarenhet.
Jo, det är sant, men... Det är faktiskt sant, mamma.
Mm. Nej då.
Kan du hjälpa?
Vad?
Tack.
Jag tänkte en sak.
Va?
Inte ens mormor har ringt mig.
Nej, jag vet. Men...
Fan, vi kan gått och jobbat.
Men... Jag hatar folk som försöker vara bra på spelet. När de inte är det. Ja, jag tar den sen. Lägger den på bordet. Men... Men... Du är inte bra. Inte du heller. Men... Jag... Det här är jätteroligt. Men sluta kampa för helvete. Men för i helvete. Men fega de är alltså. Men nej. Men hon var ju fortfarande framför mig. Han var ju inte så jättebra. Fast jag är inte världens bästa jag heller. Men sluta försöka vara bättre än vad du är. Fuck det här. Eller vänta, det går en buss tidigare tror jag ska kolla. Mamma. Om det är okej om jag åker. För det känns just som det inte är okej. Ja, det går ett tåg om 11 minuter. Mamma.
Är det öppet då? Är det öppet där nere då? På UG?
Nej, det öppnar om en timme.
Vad ska du till Skillingar? Det är så tidigt att göra.
Okay, I will come back.
Jag får den.
They're gonna kick some ass. This cut that we're opening up here for Lucifer is, you know, the last piece of ground that I intend on mining for Tony, so we're calling it the last cut.
In the Klondike, Parker Schnabel is opening up new ground.
We're out of ground at the upper cut, but we can't stop mining until we've got 5,000 ounces of gold, and we're still 1,400 ounces short of that. We've never missed a goal up here, and I don't think anybody wants to start that kind of a trend, so everybody's really given their last little bit they can to see this through.
Rick has mined the Indian River Cut all season with Big Red. 3 kilometers east, Lucifer ran pay dirt from the upper cut until last week. Midway between the two, Parker and his crew have cleared the brush on an area the size of 6 football fields. The last cut.
So what's the game plan here? Well, we've got to open this up and get us down to pay, and I don't want to be down Sluicing for more than a week, so we've really got a week to do this. Man, I don't think it's going to happen in a week. I mean, look just right here where we're standing. I mean, sink out of sight.
The sun is melting the frozen overburden fast, and it's turning into a swamp.
That's what we've got to work with, so we've got no choice but to just move our mud and all here. Mitch, I was hoping if you could hop in a dozer and get this top layer off, and Zach, you'll just have to try to keep those trucks going, pound out 100 plus loads a day. We'll strain get rid of some of this mud. It's the only thing we can do. It's the only option we've got. Make it happen. They've just got to figure out a way to get that cut down to pay. So they've got a week to do it. Just gonna use the dozer here, try and clean some of this up, get to where our trucks can actually make some good time.
To get down to pay dirt, the crew needs to remove more than 6 meters of overburn. Operator Zach Smith has to load out 100 trucks per shift. That's 7 truckloads every hour.
Like Parker says, we got to get going, so it's time to get the trucks rolling. Time is the one thing that we don't have.
We're gonna keep pushing forward here and try to move dirt for them, get this opened up.
This is extremely slow going, muddier than hell, and the trucks are getting stuck left and right. Disaster. Parker wants us to get about 6 or 7 loads an hour, but we're getting 3, maybe 4.
We're stuck at the moment. Stuck in. This is a nightmare right now. I'm getting myself more and more stuck here as I try to free myself up. I've got my rubber boots on.
Man, it's a disaster down here.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you're getting many truckloads out. What are you getting?
3, maybe 4.
Yeah, that's never gonna work. We're gonna have to do something here. Trucks running back and forth on it, just keep pumping all the groundwater up, and it's got nowhere to go. I just park the trucks until we get rid of some of this water. We're making more of a mess than we can deal with. Hey Parker, you got a copy? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we need a pump down here now.
Mitch orders the rock trucks out of the cut until they can set up an effective drainage system.
I know Parker's in a big rush to get this cut down to pay, but if we're going to make it happen, first thing we need to do is get rid of this water and get rid of all this mud. I'm trying to do all this in a week because I don't know what he's smoking.
Programmet presenteras av GB Fikaglass.
Våren presenteras av Västerbottensost. Vi har allt du behöver för sommarens festligheter. Nu har vi kampanj på vårens finaste skjortor i flera olika färger och kvaliteter och kostymer till marknadens bästa priser. Vi hjälper dig gärna att hitta den perfekta kombinationen. Erbjudandet gäller både i butik och online. Dressman för alla män.
På Nordea har vi alltid tyckt att det är spännande att testa nya saker. Som när vi startade mobilbank redan på 80-talet. Vilket kanske var lite tidigt. Idag hjälper vår sparrobot Nora dig att spara för framtiden. Direkt i mobilen.
Just nu har vi automatveckor på Opel. Nu får du automat på köpet när du väljer en ny Opel Astra eller Opel Insignia. Från 209 900.
Att vi installerar beställningskiosker för att laga maten på beställning är en bra deal för att minska matsvinnet. Och att du kan få en nylagad Max Selection Cajun Barbecue som kött, kyckling eller vego för 79 kronor är en bra deal för dig. På Bauhaus finns allt du behöver för vårens byggprojekt. Välkommen in till varuhusen och Bauhaus.se.
Hitta din självkänsla hos Bauhaus.
Jag har sagt att jag inte kan hjälpa dig. Jag kan inte komma nu. Pappa, ser du 2 sladdar nu? Ja pappa, det är en router du har köpt. Jag är inte arg. Nu har vi ström, det är jättebra. Nu måste vi, och så den andra sladden har också kopplat in, eller hur? Men det ska blinka, du behöver inte vara orolig för det. Men då har du inte kopplat in det ordentligt. Jag har sagt det här till dig 20 gånger. Pappa, vi börjar om. Kolla i kartongen och kolla om du kan hitta lappen.
Ett tips till dig som gillar att jämföra. Jämför lån på smarta.se. Bli av med dyra smålån och spara tusenlappar. Smarta. Jämför lån, elavtal och försäkringar.
Familjen Elmgren på Hedbacken 12 är fine med att Sektor Alarm gör den här reklamen. Där vi berättar att de är i stugan. Så villan står tom. Men den här abstrakta pärlan hänger kvar i hallen. Skaffa samma hemlarm som familjen Elmgren. Just nu till kampanjpris på sektoralarm.se.
38 titlar säger allt. Peugeot 3008 SUV. Alla älskar en vinnare.
Många män testar vad som helst för att slippa hudirritation när de rakar sig. Så vi skapar en helt ny typ av rakhyvel med Gillette Skin Guard Sensitive. Den har unika ribbor mellan bladen som utformas för att minska irritation under rakningen. Den kommer att förändra hur män gör sig redo varje dag. The best a man can get. Gillette.
Här är ett lokalt hållbarhetsinitiativ som vi tittar på att göra större. Här är ett annat som snart görs över hela Sverige. Samtidigt som det här pilotprojektet ljudlöst smyger fram i natten. Och de här manikerna installeras i alla våra restauranger så att vi kan laga maten på beställning och minska matsvinnet. Välkommen in till McDonalds.
Hej, det är Tony och jag som har TV-kampan.
Tramparna, andas an.
Rösterna som räddar liv.
Hej då, vad vackert.
Vi ska hjälpa dig.
Ja, men jag kommer inte dö det.
SOS Sverige, måndag klockan 9 på kanal 5.
CSI Miami är här.
You're under arrest.
Där de löser mord med kemiexperiment och supercoola dataprogram.
They're not the kind of people who have enemies.
Until now.
CSI Miami, måndagar och tisdagar klockan 10 på kanal 9.
Why not?
Extra weapons.
So you've got no drugs on you today? Absolutely not. Nothing.
It should not have white powder inside.
Gränsbevakarna Australien, måndag till torsdag klockan 8 på kanal 9.
Vi ger dig film
Alright, very, very good.
varje vecka
This is big.
på kanal 9.
That's right. Welcome to A school.
Déjà vu ikväll klockan 8 på kanal 9. Programmet presenteras av GB Fikaglass.
Våren presenteras av Västerbottensost.
This ground's just saturated, so it's all really, really soft. It's fine for track machines and stuff like that, but we want to get trucks in here.
At Parker's last cut, all stripping is on hold until the crew can set up a vital drainage system.
We're just digging a sump right now, then we can drop our suction line in there, send our discharge out that way, block it off, and that way we'll be able to drain all this water down into there and all this saturated ground will dry up.
We dragged this dewatering pump over to a new cut we're working on, and they're running into a lot of water.
What the? Is that starting? Battery's dead. That's why you test stuff in the yard before you bring it out in the field. Make sure the batteries aren't dead like that, you know?
Okay. Yeah. I asked him if everything worked. He said it was good to go.
That was a waste of time. Man, I don't know where your head's at, but you got to get it in the game.
Me? I didn't rebuild this.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you take something out of the yard, hit a few buttons.
Well, I didn't rebuild it, so I don't.
I'm not trying. I said I know that. Just get your head in the game as far as bringing something out into a cut like this. Like, how much time do we just waste?
Whoever rebuilt it should have checked it in the yard or took it down to the pond. It's not on me. It's on whoever fixed it.
Well, that's how you drive people away, right? She's dead. Something's wrong. Here's the problem. What's that? Poor battery for that thing. Stupid. Oh, yeah, so I was here before. He's not off the surgery. I'm just going to solder his cable back into the terminal.
The pump is ready for action. Red puts the suction hose into the sump and drops the discharge into a ditch. airless between the pump and the pump. The pump can't charge.
Water's going down. Let's just walk away from it now. It's working. Yeah. Just like old times. It was. Good old classic partner and Rick pump story, huh? Let's not do that too much more. No, we have people for that.
The drainage system is working, and the crew gets back to trucking out overburden.
This is going to be the cut that's going to get us to 5,000 ounces. Now it's time to hammer down, get all the mud off, get it all down to gravel, find some hay, start putting gold in the box.
We might have to go the big chains to the 2 parts. Your call, man. Feels good to have Hunter back. The future of my operation is in his hands.
Okay, you're hooked up, you're ready to go.
To build his wash plant, the Holy Roller, Todd will install the custom-built 9 meters long trommel. Attach the 6 meter sluice runs, and above, install a wet feed system to deliver Golden Gulch pay dirt.
That's a thing of beauty, isn't it?
The crew has already hauled up the platforms for both the trommel and the wet feed system. Now, it's time for the feeder.
This is the top of the feeder. Has all the spray bars and the hopper. It's a big piece though, so it's going to be hard to get on there, but you're good on your tail. Keep coming. That actually spun perfect. Okay, you should be good. Just go slow and I'll just watch. Alright, let's roll with it. I quit just because I was kind of fed up. But, you know, I don't want to end the season like that. We have another shot, and hopefully we can dig in and get this wash plant going.
Hooked up. I'm sure there's better ways. I would track a little slower for starts, so my guy on the lead line here wasn't getting his arm jerked off.
The last leg of the journey, a steep incline up to the feeder pad.
Where are you going to have your tracks when you're setting it? Right here, or you're going to get up there and swing sideways? I'm going to turn around and back up that hill. Then the whole thing will be going the right direction. His plan is he's going to back up with the load, get it, get his tracks up on here, swing over, drop it on. It's easier said than done. Okay, Hunter, direct me up there. Straight to your tracks. To the left. Your left. He's coming. Straight back. I feel like I'm going to fall forward. I'll pick up the load and bring it closer to you. And then it'll give you more range to back up. Okay, hang on.
curl your bucket in.
I can't. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
This thing's too heavy for me to control.
Watch out!
Programmet presenteras av bet365. Programmet sponsras av Svensk fågel, kyckling och kalkon från svenska bönder.
Många män testar vad som helst för att slippa hudirritation när de rakar sig. Så vi skapar en helt ny typ av rakhyvel med Gillette Skin Guard Sensitive. Den har unika ribbor mellan bladen som utformas för att minska irritation under rakningen. Den kommer att förändra hur män gör sig redo varje dag. The best a man can get. Gillette.
Privatlisa din nya Opel. Just nu har vi fantastiska erbjudanden på flera av våra SUVar. Från 2099 i månaden, inklusive service. Smart, smidigt, Opel.
Att vi installerar beställningskiosker för att laga maten på beställning är en bra deal för att minska matsvinnet. Och att du kan få en nylagad Max Selection Cajun Barbecue som kött, kyckling eller vego för 79 kronor är en bra deal för dig.
...38 titlar säger allt. Peugeot 3008 SUV. Alla älskar en vinnare.
På Nordea har vi aldrig varit rädda för att testa nya saker. Även om vår drive-in-bank på 60-talet inte blev långvarig. Men vi slutar ändå inte att försöka hitta nya sätt att förenkla din vardag. Som att vi lanserat Google Pay, Samsung Pay och Apple Pay till alla våra kunder.
På Bauhaus finns allt du behöver för vårens byggprojekt. Välkommen in till varuhusen på bauhaus.se.
Hitta din självkänsla hos Bauhaus.
Här är ett lokalt hållbarhetsinitiativ som vi tittar på att göra större. Här är ett annat som snart görs över hela Sverige. Samtidigt som det här pilotprojektet ljudlöst smyger fram i natten. Och de här manikerna installeras i alla våra restauranger så att vi kan laga maten på beställning och minska matsvinnet. Välkommen in till McDonalds.
Anna Jonsson på Frejagatan 1 är helt okej med att Sektor Alarm gör den här reklamen. Där vi berättar att hon är på Gran Canaria ett par veckor. Men hennes fina klocka ligger kvar på byrån i sovrummet. Skaffa samma hemlarm som Anna. Just nu till kampanjpris på sektoralarm.se.
Det var bara 8. gang han frøser rundt der.
Vilken avfart var det? Han var inne i en karusellsnurra.
Just nu får du 5 fria liter när du fixar Ingo-appen. Vi har allt du behöver för sommarens festligheter. Nu har vi kampanj på vårens finaste skjortor i flera olika färger och kvaliteter och kostymer till marknadens bästa priser. Vi hjälper dig gärna att hitta den perfekta kombinationen. Erbjudandet gäller både i butik och online. Dressman för alla män.
Vi köper din bil.se. Precis, vi köper din bil.se. Självklart, även den. Vi köper din bil.se. Gör en online-värdering redan idag. Enkelt och gratis. Välj din bil och få värderingen direkt. Och när du vill sälja, ja då vet du redan. Vi köper din bil.se.
CSI Miami är här. Där de löser mord med kemiexperiment och supercoola dataprogram.
They're not the kind of people who have enemies.
Until now.
CSI Miami. Måndagar och tisdagar klockan 10 på kanal 9.
Why not?
extra weapons.
So you've got no drugs on you today?
Absolutely not. Nothing.
That should not have white powder inside.
Gränsbevakarna Australien. Måndag till torsdag klockan 8 på kanal 9.
I've got high expectations, guys. Oh dear.
Peter Madison tar oss med till Australiens mest extraordinära husbyggnad.
You're joking me. It's something I've always wanted.
Grand Designs Australien. Måndagar och tisdagar klockan 9 på kanal 9. Vi ger dig film.
Alright, very good.
Varje vecka.
This is big.
På kanal 9.
That's right. Welcome to A School.
Déjà vu ikväll klockan 8 på kanal 9.
Programmet presenteras av bet365. Programmet sponsras av Svensk Fågel, kyckling och kalkon från svenska bönder.
Watch out! God. What the going on, man? It's not that difficult.
You shouldn't have went backwards. Stupid. Dude, listen. I don't know why would you go backwards?
When I swing, this will be perfect. Okay? Yeah, it will be. Trust me.
He wants to do it the Todd way instead of the Hunter way, so.
Trust me. I need to back up, just foot at a time.
Take your tracks to the right a little bit.
Okay?
Other right.
That way or no?
To the right of you. The front of your tracks to the right. There we go. About time.
Todd is on the pad and finally ready to lift the feeder into place.
Looks solid. Looks good. So let's get it lifted up over the screen, and we'll get the back ones in, Todd.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Good?
Try to go down.
Mechanic Juan comes in to oversee this critical stage.
Man.
Dude, just listen to our hand signals.
I can see what's
No,
going
you can't
on.
see behind that leg. We're trying
I
to
can
get...
see what's going on.
that
If you
inner-
stay it back, I can put it right on there.
Todd, go that way just a little bit.
Right there. Get that lip in. Hey, right there. Right there.
Hold on.
Now that that's in, go out and down a little bit.
Well, I gotta come up.
Down. What? Oh, man. Why does it do the opposite of what people say? Stop!
I don't know.
If you would have changed a level, it'd be fine.
No, you always want to blame it on us.
Just start those up, and we're level. We're not even close. You're off by 2 feet.
If you can't get that in, you better just go remove him.
It's like,
Just pull him right out of there. Just do what he tells you to do, man.
dude, please get out.
No, shut
You're
up.
gonna- dude,
Shut up.
just do what he's saying.
You're not anywhere good enough to be doing this.
I'm way better than you at this.
No, you're not.
Dude, you do the opposite of everything he says.
Okay, here's the deal. We need to rig it so it ain't like this. It's like this. See?
Let me put it on. I'll drop it in right now. It has nothing to do with the chain.
Sort them up.
Heavy. It's a pain in the ass. It's hot. Can't breathe. So yeah, it kind of sucks.
He's saying that the issue is that the load's not leveled. But the other thing is, too, he doesn't listen to anybody on the ground.
It's always our fault why nothing works.
We're trying to move this finger, aren't we? Up there Facebooking, man.
Can't believe how much Jeff likes doing these chains.
Probably wouldn't understand being in your cab all the time.
Todd gives it one more shot.
Okay, one, you ready? Hold the tag line. Put some pressure on the tag line. There you go. Hold on. Hold it right there. There it is. Let down. Good. That was by the book. That was a by the book lift. Perfect.
Is what I don't like. It's not fun. It's just stupid, and I'm not going to do this every day, so.
He needs to not act like he knows what he's talking about, because he doesn't. I don't know, he needs to be quiet. He needs to do what I say.
I don't even know why I came back, honestly.
We are dead in the water with it. I hate boats.
In Dawson City, Tony Beats has hit another major obstacle in moving his second dredge. His mega barge, the Jasmine B, is out of action.
And we're not getting to Thistle. No. But back to shore. This is what you call it, right back where you started. Anyway, yakking about it ain't gonna do us no good.
3 weeks ago,
Whoa. Is that Mike? I mean, I didn't like the sound of that at all. And you know, sandbar. Maybe there's a lot of water coming in those prop shafts. When Jasmine B, props are a lot of work to be done on that thing again. So we're gonna have to figure out a way to get that boat out of the water. Here's just another dilemma.
until Tony can dry dock the Jasmine B, he has no way to get his 50-ton crane to his second dredge.
As of now, I got no plan, but you know what? We'll see what we can do. So I'm gonna have to make some deals, do some trading here, there, or whatever it takes. We're gonna have to get this crane over there one way or another.
We're in the middle of day 2 here of a pretty aggressive dirt moving project to get this last cut going.
65 kilometers southwest of Dawson City, Parker's crew pushes hard to get down to pay dirt.
There's just a lot of work. We're 200 people, and now we're driving out the few that we have left.
Back at camp, Chad, Parker's best welder, packs up his truck.
Just, again, I don't know how people work for this guy sometimes. Like, how you talk to people like that. I'm not going to sit here and take it. You try and get a welder up here halfway through the season, good luck. So I'm going to talk to him, and either he's going to, you know, apologize, or I'm going to, oh, it's as simple as that.
What's that?
Oh, I just want to see what your problem is with me.
I don't have a problem with you. There's not a problem. I have a problem when I want a piece of equipment brought to a cut and I want it ready to go and it's not ready to go. That's my problem.
I was told to hook onto a pump and bring it over there. If the mechanic that worked on it didn't try it out,
I'm not here for confrontation, right?
And I don't want to start either. But if that was me that rebuilt that and never checked that, then I would take full ownership for that thing not running.
I don't care who worked on it. Do I care? No. Like, turn the switch and see if it's turn over. And it's not an issue with you. If Rick or Brennan or Tyson or Alec or any other here would have done that, I would have chewed them out just the same, or if not worse. We all, man. It's where you end up at the end of the day. Unless you hook up to your trailer and quit because of it, it's not going to be a problem. You made a mistake. And I don't understand why you can't just apologize and move on. You know? It's a little screw up, right? Like, we don't get hung up on this, Chad.
Fair enough. Thanks.
Are we okay?
We're all right.
Okay. everybody here screws up. Like, everybody. I have the biggest screw-ups because I call the biggest shots, and when they don't work out, you know, you lose a lot of money, a lot more money than the hour that, you know, we lost today with that pump. Chad's a sensitive guy, and I guess he got a little knocked down. It's not about getting knocked down, it's about, this sounds so cliche, but it's about getting back up, right? You've just got to power through.
Och så tar du höger här framme.
Programmet rullas ut av själv.
Nej, oj.
Programmet presenteras av Marabou Homestyle Cookies.
Programmet presenteras av ST1-appen.
Vi har allt du behöver för sommarens festligheter. Nu har vi kampanj på vårens finaste skjortor i flera olika färger och kvaliteter och kostymer till marknadens bästa priser. Vi hjälper dig gärna att hitta den perfekta kombinationen. Erbjudandet gäller både i butik och online. Dressman för alla män.
Just nu har vi automatveckor på Opel. Nu får du automat på köpet när du väljer en ny Opel Astra eller Opel Insignia. Från 209 900.
Mobilabonnemang med 4 GB surf för 49 kronor i månaden. Enkelt, billigt, hallå.
Många män testar vad som helst för att slippa hudirritation när de rakar sig. Så vi skapar en helt ny typ av rakhyvel med Gillette Skin Guard Sensitive. Den har unika ribbor mellan bladen som utformas för att minska irritation under rakningen. Den kommer att förändra hur män gör sig redo varje dag. The best a man can get. Gillette.
Hej, min son ligger och vet att de har feberkrampa.
Krampar han, andas han.
Rösterna som räddar liv.
Hej, så vad vackert.
Vi ska hjälpa dig.
Ja, men han kommer inte dö.
SOS Sverige. Måndag klockan 9 på kanal 5.
Oh my god, nu kommer det då.
Kan du inte vänta? Se nästa avsnitt av Ex on the Beach redan nu. Och direkt efteråt, Exen berättar allt. Se Jasse reagera på varje avsnitt. Allt detta på Dplay Premium. Följ kustbevakarnas vardag.
De visste ju faktiskt inte ens att de stod på grund. Vem körde hit? Jag tror att du körde ju helt från vettet.
Kustbevakarna. Måndag till fredag, 5/7 på kanal 9.
CSI Miami är här.
You're under arrest.
Där de löser mord med kemiexperiment och supercoola dataprogram.
They're not the kind of people who have enemies.
Until now.
CSI Miami. Måndagar och tisdagar klockan 10 på kanal 9.
I've got high expectations, guys. Oh dear.
Peter Madison tar oss med till Australiens mest extraordinära husbyggnad.
You're joking me. There's something I've always wanted.
Grand Designs Australien. Måndagar och tisdagar klockan 9 på kanal 9.
De ställer sexualförbrytare till svars.
Are you telling me that you lied? To the school, to the police, you know how serious this is?
That's why we're here. To fight for them.
Law and Order Special Victims Unit. Lördagar och söndagar från klockan 9.
Programmet presenteras av ST1-appen.
Och så tar du höger här framme.
Programmet rullas ut av själv.
Nej, oj.
But, you know, once we got it moving, we got the cut draining, I mean, since then we've moved a ton of dirt.
After 6 days of digging, Parker and his crew are over 6 meters down in the last cut. But they're way behind schedule.
We're in the overburden, but I mean, nobody has any idea how deep it is. It could be 3 feet, it could be 30 feet overburden. We're almost done because I'm hungry. Another couple of minutes here, let me flatten this off and back in here, we'll call it a day. Hold on. Just hold on. God. Oh, that kind of feels a bit different. Oh. Oh, yeah. You know, we start to see bigger rocks like this, I think that's what we're looking for. And it's thawed, so I think we might be in business here.
Parker's 5,000 ounce, $6 million season goal depends on this test pan.
I really need this to be a good pan because we've got nowhere else to go other than this cut. Yeah, I mean, a good pan should have at least 10 parts. So that's kind of what we're looking for. Come look at this. That's one pan. What? Oh, look at that shot. 16 colors? No way. Dude, normally you can't pan a flake either, and there's like 2,000 ounces in your cut. So you get that, it must be really good. So that's awesome. And that's big stuff. Yeah. The last cut may not be the last cut if it holds out like this. Just joking, I'm back. I'll be down here.
I'm gonna try to clean up and kind of square up this area we're gonna put the sluices.
After Todd's debacle with the Holy Rollers feeder, Son Hunter has stepped in to take charge of the sluice box installation.
We're trying to get the sluices level and at the right angle. It needs to have a 4-foot drop from top to bottom.
Hunter's plan: get the sluice box level from side to side. Then create a 1 in 5 fall so it will catch gold effectively. Finally, he'll insert the chute that connects it to the trough.
That's how you do it.
Oh, he's doing it backwards. This isn't gonna work. Move it out of the way. Yeah, Hunter. Drag that chute over and go from there.
Why would we do that? Dude, until we get this right, we can't even put the sluice in.
Get the chute. I'm putting the chute on first. And I'm gonna build off of that.
It's not gonna work. Set the sluices first and then put the chute on.
That chute's going in next. Hunter's 18 and he thinks he knows better than me, and you know what? Sometimes he does. Most of the time he does not. He's gonna do it my way now.
Todd gets the chute in first. Then he has to install the sluices. And crucially, get the whole thing at the optimum angle.
It looks like she's working. Put that level on there, Hunter. See if it's level.
It's not at all.
Not bad.
The whole thing's tweaked. There's not a single piece that's level on the whole box.
Round 2.
Where's the windshield wipers in this stupid thing?
Hello? All right. Hi, Doc. I was wondering if you wouldn't try to get in touch with me.
The opponent into the corner. Absolutely so.
Always dare. If things cool now, I wanna you to know that. Dare to find your own path. Why don't you remind yourself? Dare to stand out. Dare. And you know we're pretty well, don't you?
Every inch of it. You know, I learned how to drive in this car.
What else did you learn, Ray?
Well, Linda, you gotta be patient, you know? You can't just jump in and expect her to turn over right away.
All right.
Yeah. And always remember to warm her up, you know? Otherwise she'll quit on you.
Oh, all right. Oh, God. You make me sick.
What? What did I do?
Oh, stop. I know all about you and your past and Lisa Constantine and... Oh, you make me sick.
Is Lisa in town?
Robert told me.
Oh. But wait a minute. I told you about Lisa Constantine years ago.
Yeah, but you didn't tell me where. You didn't tell me she's the reason you wanted to keep this car. And what's worse, I'm the one stuck driving this piece of crap. Look. Ugh, I'm taking it to the junkyard.
No, wait. You don't understand. This car isn't just about luck. It's a part of me. You know how it is in my house. This used to get me away from there. Oh, we go to Shea Stadium and Jones Beach. Sometimes we pile in the car and drive. Just to drive. When my father was really mad at me, he'd take the car away. Oh, that was the worst thing that you could do to me. This car, it wasn't just a car, it was like freedom. It was, I guess that's why I want to keep it.
Well, all right. I mean, I guess I can live with it for a little while longer, but just until we get the new.
Sa du det?
My friend recently to Johnny Manziel. He's a quarterback in the NFL, and she loves clothes. She's a good time. But she'll fit right in.
With me, and joining us now is Cheyenne.
And we can track in excess of 1,000 objects down the size of a tennis ball.
Oh, come on, man. I think this is worth a lot more than that. I mean, today, right now, in today's market, I mean, that's what I see, $6,000 to $7,000 for. No problem, man. No problem moving this, but it's a lot of pieces, so they're going to have to sell them individually, and it's going to take a course of time to move everything. The vintage stuff should move first. The newer stuff, that's going to take the longest to move.
It's a little bit of a difference in price.
Here's the deal, buddy. Last time I bought an entire collection like this, it took me probably about 3 years to go through them, and I threw them in the trash just to get rid of them. I was tired of them being around the store. I don't know if I want to go through it again. I'll give you $2 grand for all of it.
No, come on, man.
The amount of time and labor this stuff takes to actually sit there and sell, you're better off selling it yourself.
No, I think Gargamel would pay me more than that, man.
But, you know, that's what I'm willing to do, man.
I'll tell you what, I'll lower it to 4,000.
4,000?
Yeah.
You got 2,500 bucks. I'm not gonna pay any more.
What about 3,000?
2,500 bucks.
2,800.
2,500.
Not a little bit more?
Not even 1 cent more.
It's a life collection, man.
It's your life collecting this stuff, not mine, man. I'm trying to buy it for 2,500 bucks.
I'll
do? All right, cool. Let's go inside and do some paperwork. Chum, you want to start packing Smurfs?
Yeah. I think they got Lucky Smurf on their side because they got a really good deal.
Check out the Hendrix. That's way cool.
Yeah, man.
Did I see these before?
I've had them for a while.
I've been hanging around the shop today trying to keep a low profile, but Rick keeps trying to kick me out, and he won't give me any good deals on the stuff I want to buy.
Hopefully Court will see things my way. What's the deal with all the Hendrix pictures?
You know, we met this guy, Ron Raffelli, and he was Jimi Hendrix's personal photographer for years. And well, like a couple years ago, he realized that some of these photos he had could be worth some money.
You got a double exposure down there?
Where it looks like it's two photos.
Yeah, I like it, dude. I was raised on Jimi Hendrix, you know? That'll look great in a condo. I'm willing to pay a little bit of money for him. Can you make me a deal on this without calling your dad?
I got him marked $2,600. What do you want to pay me for it, man?
$600.
I'm not taking a $2,000 hit on it. I'll sell it to you for $2,000.
I don't want to spend that much money. $800.
If you're just gonna lowball me, I'm gonna throw you out. I mean, that's ridiculous.
All right, I'll meet you in the middle. $1,000.
1,500.
No, I'm out. I'm done.
All right, man.
All right.
Take it, Mark. I don't even like you anymore. Later.
You know I love you.
Yeah. Hey, go.
These guys are giving me no love today. I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee, regroup, then maybe Chumley will give me the family discount that I deserve.
What do we got here?
It's like a really cool blow gun I came up on.
Oh, let me see this. No, don't touch it. It looks like a peace pipe to me, man.
Yeah, it could be. That's what I thought it was at first. My blow gun's handmade from bone. I don't know how old it is, and I actually shot it twice. It's pretty accurate. So I like to sell it because I got animals and kids and stuff around the house.
You know anything about it?
Shoots darts.
They're not poisonous, are they?
Not that I know of. Supposedly it's made out of bone.
Okay, do you know what kind of bone?
Cow? I don't know.
I mean, it's awfully fancy looking. The only ones I've really read about are the ones they used in South America, like the Amazon. They've actually been around for thousands of years. They had this really weird process where they'd actually make the poison darts. They catch these frogs, and like, I guess it was the skin on the frogs was really poisonous, and they were able to make poisonous darts, and they would hunt with them, which is sort of creepy. People have been using blowguns for thousands of years. It's an ingenious way of turning lung power into a dangerous weapon. And in the right hands, they're absolutely deadly.
This still works. Do you guys have any targets?
If you turn around and back in the center, you can draw a target on the ball slide.
You know, I can shoot one into the floor if you don't mind.
Let me see. All right. You don't want to blow like that. You want to pop. Awesome. Damn, that looks like it would hurt. Now, how much were you looking to get out of it?
Possibly 100.
Alright, here's the problem. It's not that old because bone ages to a yellow color, and this is still perfectly white.
Well, it's not that white. It's got a little yellow in there.
Okay, well, I mean, this is how new bone looks, more or less, when they carve it. I mean, literally, this can't be more than a few years old. You can probably pick this up in a market over there for like maybe 40, 50 bucks. I think it's just a tourist piece they sold.
So what's your best offer?
I wouldn't even make an offer on it. There's just no money here. If I do have stuff like this in the store, I don't want one of my employees accidentally selling it for maybe an antique, so I generally don't even keep stuff like this in the store.
That's it.
That's it, man. Sorry.
I think it's worth $100, but, you know, that's his opinion, and, you know, I respect that. So I guess I'll just sell it on the internet.
Whoa. What's up?
You're banned, man.
What do you mean? Is this a joke? I'm not banned. I come here all the time. I'm family.
You're banned. Scout's honor.
Who could have banned me anyways?
Really? Really?
Really? The old man kicked me out today. That doesn't mean that I'm not welcome back. That just means a show of affection. And the affection is good affection. So I'll leave today. I'll be back tomorrow.
Andy, I just kicked Davey off the property.
Programmet presenteras av bet365.
Programmet presenteras av Marabou Kex.
We have to create the power of Enfield and to use the power of Enfield again.
It would be one of the great nights if they could pull this off.
Det här är en match som det verkligen kittlar avgörande stund är snart här. Tungt returmöte på ett kokande Anfield. Vilka går hela vägen? Semifinal, Liverpool, Barcelona med Champions League-studio. Tisdag 20.00 på 6 och via Play.
Skillingar.
Another bag of nothing.
Now we're starting to make some money.
Se de nutida skattjägarna.
Du har ju också.
Premiär lördag 21.00 på TV10 och via Free.
Här är ett lokalt hållbarhetsinitiativ som vi tittar på att göra större.
Mamma kunde släppa mig då från vissa källor i närheten.
Samtidigt som det här pilotprojektet ljudlöst smyger fram i natten. Och de här manikerna installeras i alla våra restauranger så att vi kan laga maten på beställning. Ska matsvinnet. Välkommen till McDonalds.
Arboga, naturligtvis. Från drygt till smaken på kallt och varmt. Droppa i och smaka av. Gång touch of taste. Smaksättare.
Ska vi titta i ditt lilla va? Fåringe.
Vilket fan en hel ord på sin
videoslots.com.
Fåringe va? Vilken hel ormgrädd fick hon på mattrappan. Ja. Hur fick du ute på din tallrik idag?
Stay curious.
Det sa du inte senare, va? Varför säger du inte det, va?
Battles have raged in the air for command of the skies.
If you don't have air supremacy, you're in trouble.
Since its earliest beginnings in World War I, the airplane is the supreme weapon of the armed forces.
This was a real battle for civilization, for humanity.
It revolutionized battle and changed the ways war was fought and won.
The F-117 has obviously changed how we design aircraft and air campaigns.
War drove innovation in the skies.
What we hear from the Air Force is when the F-35 wasn't there, all others died. When F-35 was there, they reigned supreme.
Aircraft bred a new kind of hero. The fate of entire nations depended on the bravery of a handful of men.
An appreciation of the extent to which young men were willing to put their lives on the line for an ideal is something we need to remember more often than we do.
In this episode, the Sopwith Camel becomes the most dangerous dogfighter.
It's a killer.
Unleash a scourge with their Fokker Eindecker.
They decimated the Royal Flying Corps at the time.
The Allies launched a Spitfire of its time, the SE-5.
The SE-5A was one of the most successful fighters in the First World War.
Baron von Richthofen and his flying circus ruled the skies.
He would pick out the weakest and go after them quite ruthlessly.
America's ace of aces, Eddie Rickenbacker.
It was an incredible feat, you know. He was taking on 7 aircraft, just one man.
Takes on the deadliest fighters of World War I.
No one had ever seen anything like this before.
The dawn of aviation when the world went to war in 1914. Daring young men took to the skies in flying machines. and blazed a trail for a radically new type of battle.
This is the first time men have fought in the air. It's a new dimension of aerial warfare.
These young men had to learn this and learn this very quickly or they wouldn't live through it.
The first combat aviators had to master the rapidly evolving technology.
The development during the First World War in aviation was immense. If you look at the aeroplanes that first went to the Western Front in 1914 compared to the aeroplanes that were there in 1918, the development on both sides is huge.
With nearly 1,300 kills to its name, the British Sopwith Camel, introduced in 1916, was the most successful close-range aerial combat aircraft of the First World War.
The Sopwith Camel has rightly earned the reputation of the greatest dog fighter in the war because of its incredible maneuverability, the ability to turn on a dime.
What made it special was the fact that it was almost impossible to fly. It had its own mind, and the plane would do strange things. It was very unstable, and that was very handy in a dogfight, because you didn't know what was going to happen, and neither did the enemy. It were all over the place.
Turning, spinning combat arena, it's superlative. And so once you've mastered this plane, it's a killer.
At the dawn of aerial combat, the aviator was lionized.
There was this romantic myth of the aviator. The aviator was, in fact, a new man. He had conquered the air. He roamed the heavens completely free. He could fight, give battle at his own initiative, refuse battle.
They were pioneering, they were brave. You could argue that they were brave and foolish at the same time, because these machines were just held together with bits of string. In reality, flying in an open cockpit World War I aircraft was brutal, harsh, and deadly.
You're flying at 100 miles an hour, so you've got the sound of the wind, you've got the cold, very cold. These airplanes dogfighted at 17,000, 18,000 feet with no heat and no oxygen, and they were up there 45 minutes. Extremely cold. You had the castor oil blowing in your face, and you were ingesting castor oil. It was a nasty business.
In Britain, among the first to be called for the rare duty as an aviator were former cavalry officers.
At the start of the First World War, to become a pilot in the Royal Flying Corps, the main requisite was you rode a horse.
Many of the would-be aviators learned to fly in a Sopwith Camel, purposely designed with the cavalry officer in mind.
If you look in all World War I airplanes, they all have some form of stirrup. And then they have also a saddle. You mount it, just like you mount your horse. You stick your left leg in here, you swing your leg over the saddle, and you mount your steed.
They soon learned, however, that taking hold of the reins of a World War I fighter required a brand new skill set.
There were no two-seat models of these airplanes, so there's only one seat on it. You're your own instructor. You have to go up in the airplane, you have to figure it out yourself because there's nobody that can help you. One of the things that they learned right on is you have to keep your head moving, and you have to look for the target all the time. They move their necks constantly to the point where it would wear a rash in their neck. So they put silk scarves around their neck so the uniform wouldn't wear their neck. The oil was splashing in their eyes all the time, so they would take the end of the scarf and they would wipe the oil off their goggles. And it can make the difference between life and death. If you had an oil spot on your goggle that was blocking the enemy, you'd never see him coming.
Of the 14,000 British pilots killed in the course of the Great War, 8,000 died in training on Britain's airfields.
They often, the early pupils got into spins and they couldn't control them.
In inexperienced hands, the immense power or torque produced by the Camel's rotary engine often proved fatal.
The engine had high inertia, it had high torque, so it could throw a huge propeller, which gave a lot of thrust for a low horsepower. The engines were between 80 horsepower and 140 horsepower. By today's standard, that's not very powerful at all. But if you look at the propeller that these engines swung, they're gigantic.
student pilots got accustomed to the sound of one of their brethren spinning in from altitude. They could hear him coming down, and you're whirring, and you knew what was going to happen. He's just going to bury himself in the ground with the camel, and they'd say, there goes another one.
Getting the balance right between stability and maneuverability while producing an effective combat plane was the preeminent challenge for the early aircraft designers.
From the Wright brothers on, from 1903 to the beginning of the war in 1914, all designers around the world were trying to create an aircraft that was stable. The war comes along and the aircraft turns into a war machine, and now you're fighting with these machines. Well, you don't want a stable fighting machine. You want something that's very maneuverable. So how do you make an airplane maneuverable without making it unstable? And they just did not know how to do it.
With the war raging between the world's great economic powers, including Britain, France and Russia on the one side, and Germany and Austria-Hungary on the other, there was no time to wait for the perfect aircraft design. Would-be pilots simply had to learn to fly highly unstable planes, or die trying. And after about 20 hours of training, those Allied pilots that survived were deemed ready for one of the most hazardous duties. But at the beginning of the war in 1914, there were very few British aircraft to speak of.
They had some 50, 60 airplanes ready to serve in France, all of the very early versions of what we call the BE-2, which was the Royal Aircraft Factory BE-2.
Main combat role in the BE-2 during the First World War was observation. It was the first purpose-designed military airplane, and it was designed as the eyes of the army.
The Royal Aircraft Factory's BE-2 had an 8-cylinder engine producing about 90 horsepower and a top speed of 72 miles an hour. The primitive plane didn't win any plaudits for its raw power. What made it a useful combat tool was that it had a range of 234 miles. That's roughly the distance between London and Paris. And the BE-2 could fly as high as 10,000 feet.
The BE-2 was actually designed to be a very stable aeroplane, and for that purpose, fairly controllable, and that made it ideal for its role in observation. But in terms of today, it was still a very, very basic aeroplane. Limited instruments, virtually no instruments in some cases, and very limited controls.
They didn't even have cameras to photograph the enemy positions they'd been sent to observe.
They would have literally drawn on a pad and paper the German gun positions, the lines of the trenches, troop positions, and it wasn't then until later in the war that they actually then fixed actual cameras to the side of the aeroplane so they could photograph the German positions.
It was only a matter of time before it was decided that, well, they might as well arm them with bombs and bomb the targets directly. So once you have these aircraft bombed over the lines, then of course comes the need to shoot down and counter those bombers. That led to the need for fighter aircraft.
This led to the development of an airplane that was capable of shooting an airplane down.
As both sides ramped up production for an air war, Germany's leading designer, Anthony Fokker, seized the initiative and introduced the world's first combat-ready fighter plane, the Eindecker.
The word Eindecker is German for single wing. It's a single wing aircraft. The name Fokker is associated with Anthony Fokker, who was an aircraft designer, and he designed quite a number of German aircraft during the war.
It was the first German killing machine. It was not necessarily fast, but it had a very tight turn, so it could turn inside the enemy aircraft. But the real reason, of course, it was so special was that Anthony Fokker, he invented what is called the interrupter gear. In other words, machine guns that could fire through the propellers.
In effect, the interrupter gear stopped the machine gun from firing for a fraction of a second as the blades of the propeller swept past the machine gun barrel. The weapon of choice was the Spandau machine gun. With the gun platform mounted in the fixed forward position, the airplane was now a game-changing offensive weapon.
The fact that the pilot could literally just point the aeroplane and shoot the machine gun at the same time made it an accurate killing machine. They decimated the Royal Flying Corps at the time. A big blipper, the B2s, just became known as Fokker fodder because they just could not get out of the way. They weren't equipped to deal with it. They just had no defence against them.
The Eindecker's total command of the air began in the autumn of 1916. The massacre of the Allied aircraft and pilots that would follow would become known as the Fokker Scourge.
They're just shooting down aircraft all over the Western Front, and the British continued to send their observation planes, their fighter planes over German lines, and they get shot down in great numbers.
Over the course of the war, some 1,000 British and French aircraft were destroyed by Eindeckers. Most went down in flames. Life expectancy for an Allied pilot was short. 40 to 60 hours of flying time. Just a few weeks at best.
The airplanes were made out of fabric, out of Irish linen. They were doped with a nitrate dope that was very flammable. So these airplanes would burst into flame. Parachutes were available. They had parachutes. They weren't allowed to wear them. And both sides said it would be the coward's way out. You wouldn't fight to the death if you could jump out of the airplane. So the pilots, not having any parachutes, would dive as fast as they could and try to get on the ground before the airplane burned up. And that was called going down in flames.
The Fokker Scourge was, of course, a shock for the British and French on the Western Front. The Fokker Eindecker, the Scourge marked a period of technological advantage for the Germans and their air service. In many respects, this was a case of them just being ahead of the curve.
Confronted with these men flying straight at them, approaching from different angles, and all of a sudden opening fire and shooting them down. It has a terrifying impact.
Underhållning i samarbete med onlinekasinot videoslots.com.
Programmet presenteras av Mondo. Jämför flyg och hotell. Här är ett lokalt hållbarhetsinitiativ som vi tittar på att göra större. Här är ett annat som snart görs över hela Sverige. Samtidigt som det här pilotprojektet ljudlöst smyger fram i natten. Och de här manikerna installeras i alla våra restauranger så att vi kan laga maten på beställning och minska matsvinnet. Välkommen in till McDonalds. Skulle gått till Specsavers. Just nu får du 50% rabatt på alla progressiva glas. Alltid exakt utmätta för dina ögon.
Arboga, naturligtvis.
När man spelar kasino på nätet är det viktigt att man känner sig trygg. Storspelare har gjort det enkelt med insättningsgränser och spelpaus. Allt för att du ska ha full kontroll. Dessutom får alla nya spelare upp till 500 kronor i bonus, helt utan omsättningskrav. Välkommen till storspelare.se.
Familjen Sanati har precis som miljontals andra svenskar lån. Till exempel på den här bilen. Genom att samla sina lån har de fått ner månadskostnaden med 5 200 kronor. Vad ska ni göra för pengarna? Gör som familjen Sanati och samla dina lån på alvisa.se för bättre villkor och lägre månadskostnad.
På den här banken har vi ett väldigt brett fonderbjudande. Vi vill gärna visa ett exempel som kanske kan passa dig. Som du ser här.
Vem har bakat bullarna förresten?
Och sen ska vi ju ta hänsyn till din...
Men du, var du Mats?
Nej, det är jag som är Mats. Om du går tillbaka till fonden.
Espresso, får man ta?
Och sen ska vi ju ta hänsyn...
Det var helt fantastiskt. Ursäkta, en snabb fråga. Ja, då får du ta nummerlapp. Det var det. Det kom ju brorsan in hela familjen och det var full rulla.
Det finns många tillfällen då man behöver en riktigt flexibel dammsugare. En som når från golv till tak, i bilen och på andra svåra ställen. Unlimited går på samma utbytbara batteri som våra andra Bosch-verktyg. Så du kan använda den så länge du vill. Om du måste alltså. Bosch, invented for life.
Jag älskar frukost. Men vad är viktigast för dig på ett hotell? Är det läget? Städningen? Eller kanske bekväma sängar? Inga problem. Trivago hjälper dig att hitta rätt. Trivago jämför det du gillar på ett hotell med det som erbjuds på andra. Omdömena för frukost, läge och städning bygger på miljontals recensioner på nätet så du slipper obehagliga överraskningar och kan njuta fullt av din vistelse. Hotell Trivago.
Fond lyfter smaken på kallt och varmt. Droppa i och smaka av. One touch of taste. Smaksättare.
Börja din resa med Momondo och hitta det perfekta hotellet. Alltid med prisgaranti. Momondo. Stay curious.
Få ett gratishus när du köper en robotgräsklippare från Gardena.
Sommar i luften. Det firar vi med solglasögon på köpet när du handlar linser hos Lensway. Välj din favorit bland 16 modeller. Värde 495 kronor. Surfa in och beställ redan idag. Lensway. Linser och glasögon online.
Ett tips till dig som gillar att jämföra. Jämför lån på smarta.se. Bli av med dyra smålån och spara tusenlappar. Smarta. Jämför lån, elavtal och försäkringar.
Tjena. Jo, men det är lite som... Ja, du vet.
Det märks när magen mår bra. Se till att fylla på med Verums unika mjölksyrabakterier.
Just nu har vi Sveriges största quiz på Command. Varje söndag 20.00 tar vinnaren hem hela 50 000 kronor.
Always dare. Everything if things cool now. I wanted you to know that. Dare to find your own path and fly. Dare to stand out. Dare to take a fall and rise again, stronger.
Rewrite the rules of photography with the new Huawei P30 Pro.
Dare to make it possible.
Det är något speciellt med V75. Det känns som det har funnits ända sedan. Men det blir bara mer och mer populärt. Alla förväntningar.
We in the alligator world, and if you let your guard down, they will get you.
Med livet som insats håller de alligatorbeståndet i schack.
If you get too many in the area, I mean, that spells trouble.
Följ med till den amerikanska södern och den månadslånga alligatorjakten.
You think you can come out here and do it? Good luck to you.
Träskjägarna. Premiär tisdag 20.00 på TV10 och via Free.
Vill du se UEFA Champions League-finalen live den 1 juni i Madrid? Tillsammans med Hotels.com via Free har du chansen att vinna 2 stycken matchbiljetter inklusive 2 hotellnätter i Madrid. Gå in på viafree.se/hotels tittartävling för att svara på frågan.
Underhållning i samarbete med onlinekasinot videoslots.com.
Programmet presenteras av Momondo. Jämför flyg och hotell.
One of the most celebrated Fokker-Eindecker pilots was German ace Max Immelmann, also known as the Eagle of Lille.
To become an ace in the German Air Force, you had to shoot down 5 aircraft or more. Max Immelmann was one of the German fighter aces in the First World War.
Immelmann was your classic Prussian, reserved gentleman. Didn't talk to anybody. He was very isolated, ice cold.
Max Immelmann claimed his first kill in the Eindecker, shooting down a French pilot. But the audacious way he did it would send a chill down the spines of the Allied flyers and further change the course of aerial combat.
Max Max Immelmann invented the Immelmann turn, which was a way of having two shots at an enemy aircraft. If you were heading towards an enemy aircraft and you were shooting at it, he would then climb up, turn, and then as the other aircraft had gone past, he'd then be on the tail of the enemy aircraft and would have another shot at it. So it was quite a useful manoeuvre.
Perfected in World War I, the Immelmann turn is still used by jet fighters today. In all, the German ace Max Immelmann would claim 15 kills before his luck ran out.
Initially, a British crew claimed they had shot him down, but as it turns out, it appears that Immelmann's synchronizing gear failed him in midair, and he shot his own propeller off and fell to his death.
Immelmann's demise did little to slow the Fokker scourge. But when a German pilot was forced to land in Allied-held territory, the Eindecker's secrets were exposed.
The German army forbid that a pilot flies into foreign countries. One pilot was landing in France, and 1 week later, the success of the development was gone.
By reverse engineering the captured Eindecker, the Allies learned how to build a synchronized firing gear. So in 1916, the British produced their own fighter plane, the Bristol F-2B.
The Bristol F-2B is the superb long-range reconnaissance fighter that the British developed at the end of 1916. It will be perfected in 1917 and 1918. It uses preferably a Rolls-Royce 275 horsepower Falcon engine. It's got a top speed of over 120 miles an hour. You have a rear gunner who can keep enemy planes off your tail.
The Bristol F-2B was a two-seater. It was armed like the Eindecker, but the new British fighter had twice the firepower.
One of the key aspects about the Bristol fighter was that it combined aspects of fighters with that of reconnaissance aircraft. So, for example, it mounted Vickers machine guns through synchronized firing gear, firing through the arc of the propeller. It also mounted a Lewis machine gun on a scarf ring at the back.
The Fokker Eindecker had a worthy adversary at last.
What happens is there are cycles of one side gaining dominance with a new aircraft, and then the other side then leapfrogging that with their own better aircraft. And so the ebb and flow of aerial warfare really follows the introduction to service of progressively more effective aircraft.
But while the technology was in place, the Allied pilots were still way behind the curve when it came to battle tactics. That was largely thanks to some ingenious rules of engagement created by the German ace with the most kills during the Fokker scourge, Oswald Belcher.
Oswald Belcher is away from the front after Max Immelmann is shot down. He returns with a set of hand-picked pilots, include Manfred von Richthofen, and he comes back with what are called the Dicta Belchi, Belchi's dicta. The first is to seek the advantage, which means you try to get behind and above, or behind and below your opponent. Then you press your attack. Keep your focus on your enemy at all times. Use the sun and keep the sun at your back.
You know, if the sun is in your favor, you always try to keep the sun at your back so that the enemy has to see through the sun to see you, and you can hide in the sun. And they had this saying back then, beware of the Hun in the sun. You want to sneak up on the enemy and surprise him and shoot him before he even knows you're there. So if you could get below your enemy's tail feathers, if you could get down below him, he cannot see you, and then get up high enough to fire, that is the best way to attack your enemy.
Belcher's rules also prescribe defensive tactics that have proved effective for pilots to this day.
The other thing, finally, is that when you're fighting over enemy territory, always keep your line of retreat. Always make certain you have an escape route and leave if the fight turns against you.
It was the German pilots trained by Oswald Belcher that the newly minted British fighters had to face. In spring 1917, on their first ever mission over enemy territory, the British Bristol fighters would run into the most formidable foe imaginable.
Unfortunately, the first 6-plane unit that goes out over the German lines meets the disaster when it runs into Richthofen's unit.
Baron Manfred von Richthofen is deemed to be the greatest ace of the First World War.
Von Richthofen, the German ace, who would soon be known infamously as the Red Baron, would claim 80 Allied kills.
If you're a young British pilot and you turned around and you saw 3 red wings coming up from behind your tail, that was probably the last thing you were ever going to see. What made him the #1 ace of World War I is he was a fantastic marksman, a fantastic shot.
He loved the hunt. He loved to go out and chase boar, shoot boar, and he took that into the skies. He was a ruthless killer who would wipe out anybody who came in front of him.
He would pick out the weakest aircraft in the formation and go after them quite ruthlessly.
But von Richthofen was not infallible.
Richthofen, he's actually wounded in the head at long distance by a British Heavy 2B gunner, and he never really recovered. The wound never healed, but he continued to fly and fight after a leave.
Faced with a renewed Allied threat, the Germans raised the stakes with a new fighter plane, the Fokker Dreidecker 1. With a maximum speed of 103 miles an hour, the DR-1 was slower than its contemporaries. But what made it exceptional was its maneuverability. That was down to its triple-layered wings that were guided in flight by a reinforced lightweight rudder and large rear elevators. Able to roll and loop with relative ease in the hands of a skilled pilot, its maneuverability made it the aircraft of choice for the freshly recovered Baron von Richthofen.
This is the Fokker DR-1, the Red Baron. He flew this DR-1. He flew very small circles. And that's why it was very successful in combat.
Assigned his own squadron, the 25-year-old commander surrounded himself with aces.
Manfred von Richthofen is Belcher's most apt pupil. Richthofen himself follows Belcher's dictum to the limit. He collects these excellent airmen. He continues this squadron of aces in what's called Jasta 11, or Jagdstaffel, which is a hunting pack, as the Germans say.
Buoyed by success, von Richthofen boldly painted his triplane, and his defiant squadron of aces followed suit. The Red Baron had been born. In the skies, his fearsome force would come to be known as von Richthofen's Flying Circus.
Richthofen's plane is bright red. They all have these spectacularly colored individual fighters.
Our purpose was really, notice me, I'm coming. It wasn't camouflage, anything like that, because there were such bright colours, blues and reds and all sorts of things. And it was, look, I'm a part of the Flying Circus. I'm a part of Richthofen's group. Look out.
By 1917, 1918, there may be as many as 60 fighters stacked. This is how they appear, and they don't come over the Allied lines. The Germans fight on the defensive. So when the Allies come over in their offensives, they will find the sky stacked to the heavens with all these fighter planes and ready to fight.
In April 1917, the Allied army launched the Battle of Arras. The aim was for ground troops to advance on the German defences surrounding the small French town. To support the British offensive, 25 squadrons and 385 aircraft flew into the fray. For the British Royal Flying Corps, it would be known as Bloody April.
Bloody April is a period in 1917 when the Royal Flying Corps, operating over the Western Front, suffers heavy casualties, in part due to tactics, in part due to technology. Technology has moved on and the Germans seem to have better aircraft at this point in time.
The Allies lost 245 aircraft that April, and von Richthofen's Flying Circus seemed invincible. the seasoned flyer's personal kill rate climbed ominously. But as the war entered its final phase, the Red Baron himself proved to be a mere mortal.
Richthofen by early 1918 is practically exhausted. He's been fighting since 1916. The wound that he sustained in 1917 never completely healed. But he, as all the German fighter pilots and many of the Allied fighter pilots, refused to stop flying.
On the 21st of April 1918, Baron von Richthofen took off, flying westward along the Somme Valley. A furious dogfight raged below. He circled, then swooped down on a lone Sopwith Camel, flown by a rookie pilot, Lieutenant Wilfred May.
Baron Richthofen simply targeted him, and he got on his tail. Well, May tried to do everything to shake him off. He was tenacious. He couldn't shake him, could not shake him.
May took evasive action, turning and diving until he ran out of sky. He skimmed down across the Somme Valley, von Richthofen's guns hot on his heels.
Richthofen pursues him lower and lower over the lines, not watching that he's coming over ground gunners, Australian gunners on the ground, and that he's also being pursued by Captain Roy Brown in a Sopwith Camel.
Brown and his camel closed in and opened fire. The Dreidecker was hit, exploding, and the Red Baron went down in flames. But who actually took the fatal shot remains to this day a mystery.
There's actually some debate about how the Red Baron actually met his end. Some would put it down to a Canadian pilot called Brown, but in recent years people have generally thought that it was actually ground fire from Australian troops in the trenches that actually brought down his aircraft.
He was on the ground, landed his plane, although he shouldn't have been able to, he should have been dead, and his final words were, kaput. And that's it, and he died.
Manfred von Richthofen claimed 80 Allied kills and was immortalized as the deadliest ace of World War I.
Underhållning i samarbete med onlinekasinot videoslots.com.
Programmet presenteras av Mondo. Jämför flyg och hotell.
Våren på TV10 presenteras av Apothic Inferno. Ett kaliforniskt rödvin med whiskyton. Fond lyfter smaken på kallt och varmt. Droppa i och smaka av. One touch of taste. Smaksättare.
Så schysst att vi följer med.
Kom hem till mobiltelefoni. Prova obegränsad mobildata för 99 kronor i månaden. Kom hem. Starkare upplevelser.
Det är något speciellt med V75. Det känns som det har funnits ända sedan. Men det blir bara mer och mer populärt. Alla förväntningar.
Det finns många tillfällen då man behöver en riktigt flexibel dammsugare. En som når från golv till tak i bilen och på andra svåra ställen. Unlimited går på samma utbytbara batteri som våra andra borstverktyg. Så du kan använda den så länge du vill. Om du måste alltså. Bosch Invented for Life.
Sommar i luften. Det firar vi med solglasögon på köpet när du handlar linser hos Lensway. Välj din favorit bland 16 modeller. Värde 495 kronor. Surfa in och beställ redan idag. Lensway. Linser och glasögon online.
Always there. Everything is cool now. I wanted you to know that. Dare to find your own path. Dare to stand out. Dare to take a fall and rise again, stronger.
Rewrite the rules of photography with the new Huawei P30 Pro.
bättre munhälsa. Nu introduceras nya Colgate Total tandkräm med ny banbrytande formula som innehåller 2 ämnen från naturen, zink och arginin, som tillsammans hjälper till att bekämpa bakterier i hela munnen så att tänder, tunga, kinder och tandkött skyddas upp till 12 timmar. Nya Colgate Total skyddar även proaktivt tändernas emalj och neutraliserar omedelbart dålig andedräkt och ger lindring mot rivningar i tänderna. Prova nya Colgate Total.
Arboga, naturligtvis.
Tjena. Jo, men det är lite som... Ja, du vet.
Det märks när magen mår bra. Se till att fylla på med Verums unika mjölksyrabakterier.
Välkommen till Tombola, Sveriges nya bingosida. Här kan du spela Bingo 75 med brickor för så lite som 250 kronor. Med hundratals vinnare varje dag. Men det som gör Tombola unikt är vår gemenskap där vi har roligt tillsammans. Samtidigt som vi lägger stor vikt vid ansvarsfullt spelande. Häng med på det roliga på tombola.se och få 200 kronor i bonus när du sätter in 100 kronor.
Få ett gratishus när du köper en robotgräsklippare från Gardena.
Vi på Bosch tycker att vatten är en värdefull resurs värd att bevara och att precis ingenjörskap kan hjälpa till. Vi skapade tvättmaskinen Eidos där det smarta doseringssystemet automatiskt mäter rätt mängd tvättmedel och vatten. Perfekt resultat utan att vatten går till spill. Rätt så finurligt, rätt så boschigt. Bosch, invented for life.
För 95 kronor i månaden på kombi.se. Börja din resa med Momondo. Nu får du också prisgaranti på flyg till hela världen. Momondo, stay curious.
Just nu har vi Sveriges största quiz på Command. Varje söndag 20.00 tar vinnaren hem hela 50 000 kronor.
People see this junk at this unit. I see this one.
En mans skräp.
Are you ready to go?
This is actually very cool. What? Är en annan mans skatt.
Whoa! There's another bag of nothing. Now we're starting to make some money.
Se de nutida skattjägarna. Storage Wars. Premiär lördag 21.00 på TV10 och via Free. Välkomna till The Guild Restoration Garage.
This is a brilliant design.
Här vet man aldrig.
Been a long road, but we've got there.
Vad som rullas ut.
Well, everything seems to be going pretty good here.
Och vad som har rullat färdigt.
Oh, jeez.
Please tell me this thing's almost ready to go. Let's just do our best to get it done. Good job.
The Guild Garage. Ikväll 19.00 på TV10 och via Free. Underhållning i samarbete med onlinekasinot videoslots.com.
Programmet presenteras av Momondo. Jämför flyg och hotell.
The Red Baron may have been killed, but the Germans still ruled the skies. To gain air supremacy and win the war, the Allies still needed to improve its aircraft. Thanks to innovation and invention, the British Royal Aircraft Factory created the best fighter yet, the SE-5.
The SE-5A was one of the most successful fighters in the First World War. With over 5,000 produced alongside the Sopwith Camel, it was the mainstay of the Royal Flying Corps.
First introduced in March 1917, the SE-5 was state-of-the-art. Easier to fly than its contemporary, the Sopwith Camel, the SE-5 didn't have the fearsome rotary engine that threatened to flip over the plane at any moment. Equipped with an inline V8 water-cooled piston engine, It produced 150 horsepower. That's about the same as a mid-sized car today. The SE5 had a top speed of 138 miles per hour. Armed typically with a synchronized forward-firing Vickers machine gun and a Lewis gun in the rear, the SE5 was a formidable fighting machine.
Its combination of characteristics such as being sturdy, maneuverability, and good armament made it a very good mount as an aircraft. Of course, combined with this was the quality of the pilots that were flying them.
Thanks to bold technical innovations, by 1917, the Allies were finally fielding aircraft capable of competing with the enemy. Fighter planes like the SE5 and the Sopwith Camel enabled the Allies to begin to wrest control of the skies. With a pack of brand new fighter aircraft and some victories in hand, the British finally had some aces of their own. One of the best, and most unlikely, was James McCudden.
James McCudden is one of the great British aces. McCudden is associated with the SE5. That's his favorite platform. And what McCudden likes to do is to hunt alone.
James McCudden was one of the Royal Flying Corps' leading aces in the First World War. He has a confirmed victory list of 57 enemy aircraft. He became a mechanic in the Royal Flying Corps, and then during 1916 he becomes an observer and then latterly a pilot. He's eventually posted to number 56 Squadron.
Despite McCudden's success, he wasn't fully accepted into the flying elite.
What we know now is that a number of men in 56 were really reluctant to have him as a squadron commander because he didn't fit the notion of a public school boy. He was not wealthy, didn't come from a very good family. He came from a lower middle class military family.
First pilots were most likely to be more from money backgrounds because they would have had the money to have indulged in aviation as a sport before the war. But obviously as the war progresses and the need for more pilots arises, you do get pilots rising through the ranks, and it's really a certain ruthlessness more than anything else, along with a key attitude for flying aircraft that makes the most successful pilots.
On the 23rd of September 1917, McCudden and his squadron were on a routine mission over Belgium on the Western Front when they encounter a formidable German ace.
James McCudden, alongside other pilots in number 56 Squadron, coming up against one of Germany's leading aces, Lieutenant Werner Voss with a confirmed 48 kills.
Werner Voss challenged 6 of them in the air to a dogfight flying a Fokker triplane.
Voss could have escaped at any time. He put up an incredible battle. He fired at the British planes, he damaged the British planes.
Voss successfully dodged around McCudden and his pilots for 10 minutes. Then the Germans' propeller failed. British ace Rhys Davids dropped behind Voss and shot him down.
Jimmy McCudden said it was the greatest fight he'd ever been involved in. Even though he didn't do the shooting down, Rhys Davids did, but that was McCudden's greatest fight, as he reckoned. It was teamwork between the 6 pilots.
James McCudden, however, would meet a cruel end.
What a number of observers thought was that he was basically about to do a stunt. This plane rose, they thought maybe he was going to pull up and come over. Nobody knows what happened, but it seems as though the engine quit and he crashed.
When he went down, they found that he'd undone his harness, his safety harness, because he was frightened of the plane catching fire, and he had undone his harness, and if it landed, he could leap out quickly. It didn't catch fire, but it crashed much harder than he ever thought, and he was thrown out of the aircraft and was found bleeding from the nose and from the mouth, fractured skull. Was taken to hospital and died the following day.
With power finely balanced between Britain and Germany in the autumn of 1917, it was a loss the Allies could ill afford. To beat the Germans and end the brutal war, the Allied leaders realised they needed more than raw courage. What they needed were sheer numbers. Aircraft production went into overdrive. Over 5,200 SE-5s were built in just 18 months.
As the war continues, it becomes a mass aerial war of attrition. And the attitude is you give your opponent no mercy whatsoever. The objective is to kill him so that he won't kill you.
In 1918, with the Allies producing more and more combat-ready aircraft and gaining control of the skies, the Germans needed to regain their technological edge. The answer would be the most feared plane of World War I, the Fokker D7.
This was one of the last fighters of the war, and was certainly the best fighter of the war. And one of the German generals said that after this airplane came out, it made aces out of novices. And that's true. It had an incredible speed and maneuverability. And there's no doubt about it, that machine would have been the greatest machine of the war. This airplane flies beautifully compared to any other of the World War I airplanes that I've flown. It was most feared because when it came to the front, no one had ever seen anything like this before. It was developed with new airfoil technology. It generated better lift, it generated better speed, it was more maneuverable.
The D7's ingenious designer, Anthony Fokker, had pushed the envelope. And once again, he advanced aerodynamic technology and raised the jeopardy for the Allied Air Force.
I have in my hand here a rib of a Sopwith Camel, and one of the things that you can see right away is how much shorter the lower wing is.